that I was sitting in with one of the Pro 8 distributors in LifeVantage, Dr. Don D. Nettles. And Dr. Nettles was making the statement, he says, I can prove to you beyond a shadow of doubt from the internet that Elvis is alive. He said, I went on, and somebody told me they went on and they did a Google search, and sure enough, here comes a picture of Elvis waving from the upstairs window of Graceland, and it was date stamped for February. So, I'm just convinced that Elvis is alive. And a similar thing seems to creep over into people when they do Google searches. You can absolutely find anything on Google. The internet is wonderful. You can find anything, good and bad. One of the things you'll find is you may find, some fellow in a sweaty T-shirt working in his basement that has, some great ambitions but no expertise. And he has become the expert on some subject, and he has been able to anonymously publish himself up there. And oftentimes, you will find if people do a Google search and they maybe search protandim or protandim scam or a number of other search topics, then up comes the first page of web search information. Now, you may have noticed that if you do a Google search, the first 3 lines up there are advertisements on the search bar, and then there are 10 items of search returns. And the basis of how those come up there is because of the traffic that goes to those websites and a number of other analytical things that Google uses to establish, maybe it'll say a million. John, in my background here, I've got one of my distributors here in Virginia who's here to help me. John, would you do a plain search on Google of protandim and tell me how many search items, how many hits will come up? 436,000. So if you're doing Google alone and you hit protandim, you get 436,000, right? So if you put in a plain, do that one also, John, please. If you do Google search, you get 400 and some odd thousand. Now that 10 per page, that's a lot of pages of search results. Nobody goes past, for the most part, 80% of the people click on the first item on the search bar. By the time you get to the 3rd position on the search bar, there is about, I think the number is something, if I remember, I think it's around 12% will hit the 3rd item. By the time you get to the bottom of the first page of search items, the number of people that will respond to it is probably total for the next 7, maybe 2 to 3%, and beyond that, it's very, very, very light. So the people that do that search will come up with, oftentimes, a website called Lazy Man's Blog. Sometimes I wonder why people put a lot of credence in that, because I think the name alone can tell you something. There's a really interesting article that someone did some research on it, and the person who does that, the reason that he does it, he's got about half a dozen or a dozen websites where he will take different companies and have, a fairly high search number, and he'll write different blogs and articles about them so that he can draw web traffic, because this fellow's background is in web design and search engine optimization. Now, search engine optimization means you become an expert in driving advertising traffic to your place on the website so that you rank number 1 and you get the majority of people coming to a particular search. They'll hit your website and go there. And what happens is, when they do, there's advertising revenues that are associated with that are on their websites. And so every time you click on it, they're getting paid some small amount of money. And that's exactly what's behind this, because when you follow through on the details of this man's website, you'll find out he has no background in biochemistry. He has no background in understanding of supplements. His entire area of expertise is in website design and search engine optimization. Now, he even goes by an alias on that site and 2 other sites, but if you dig deep enough and understand some workings of the internet, you can find out who owns a website. And he's had a number of lawsuits filed against him, and he's come against a number of large companies, but yet his revenue that comes from advertising is adequate enough to be able to offset those costs, and he still makes good money. So, but most people will never look at what's behind the page. They'll take it as face value. And this individual is not, obviously he's very careful so that he doesn't put out slanderous material, but he'll put things out that have, some shred of truth in them of some sort, maybe at one point in time in history, but never does it really ring out if you understand the full context or if you follow it through. I remember when I first looked at this opportunity after Dr. Marvin called me, I went and looked there first. I went and did the other due diligence of looking at PubMed, looking at the science, listening to Dr. McCord's recorded lectures at CTAC and different places where he had spoken in the past. But then I went out and looked for the negatives off of the Google search. So I took the first most prevalent one and sat down and unfortunately probably spent a good 8-hour day tearing apart, looking at, and then researching out the other facts and things that he brought out. And by the time I was done, I had disproved every one of them, either going to historical documents, going to SEC filings, or things like that, and dismissed everything that he brought up as major points. Now, I don't recommend that someone who is focusing on building a business go do that. It was nice to be able to have it behind me and do that, but I don't recommend going there. Now, if you take and do a similar search using another tool besides Google, and that tool is Google Scholar, and it's scholar.google.com. That is a Google search that it takes away all of the, I'm going to say, the blogosphere stuff and all of the other overburden of stuff that's, basically kind of worthless, and puts it into more of a scholarly approach. Whereas there were 450,000 roughly in a record protandim search on Google, when you do a Google Scholar search, you get about 120,000 hits. Now, of course, if you want to really dig into the science, instead if you go to PubMed.gov, the National Institute of Health's website, and put in the word protandim, now you're really refining it down to only 14 peer-reviewed studies that have been done on protandim. So there's a lot of difference in searching. And so many people who will take it at face value will look at things, say, oh, this is no good, this is a scam, lots of things like that, and unfortunately they'll miss out on a very good opportunity for both health and wealth. Now, the other thing that brings around, that if you are the business person that's doing that, one of the things that's taught in the proven client training is part of the response and the responsibility of a distributor is to sift and sort through the people that they know in their database of contacts and come up with people who are really interested in not only their health, but also the business opportunity that's attached to this product. So sifting and sorting is part of what this whole operation with protandim is about. In my background, my family came out to California. Some of those of you folks out there in Redding will understand. They came out to Shasta County and settled in French Gulch in 1850, or actually Trinity Center in 1850, French Gulch, California in 1852, and they were miners. They came out for the gold rush. In that era out there, it was tunnel mines, it was looking for nuggets in those streams, and an early miner realized that they would have to go through a whole bunch of gravel and sand and dirt and muck and everything else to come and find a few nuggets of gold. Even those that were the tunnel miners of that era, and my family, started in that particular place in California also. A very rich mine in the tunneling, where they would tunnel through the rock and all into a mountain to try and follow a gold vein, might run as high as 10 ounces per ton of rock. Now, that's not a whole lot of gold. It's a whole lot of rock and picking and shoveling. And sometimes that's kind of what you have to do. And, I oftentimes tell our folks back here that are when you look at the proven plan and you're in that place where you're developing your database, you're actually, that's your gold mine. That's the list of people that you know, the list of people that you're going to contact and introduce to this wonderful opportunity called LifeVantage and the product protandim Science. So that's always been a very good thing for me to think of. I think of that part of Shasta County that goes back into a rich history of California, of the whole gold rush era. But you're not going to get everybody to come on board, unfortunately. You may come back and revisit it, but remember, your searches, if people won't listen, then put them back in your database and come back and revisit it at some time in the future. Maybe 3 months, 4 months, 1 month, whatever the circumstances may be, and revisit them and reintroduce and try to continue in that relationship building. So that's as far as we want to go there. I really want to open up the phones. I've got everybody basically it's just on self-mute or the phones are muted. But if you have some stories that you want to share tonight, I want to open this up and let's look a little bit about our animal friends and some of the experiences that some of you may have had. I know one of our callers is online that I checked in earlier. Maybe she feels up to telling a little bit of story. That's Joni Tucker from Louisiana. Are you on, Joni? Would you unmute maybe take a couple of minutes and tell us your recent story you shared with me? If you feel like it, Joni. I know you're a little under the weather tonight. Okay, Joni? Joni Tucker? No. Okay, does anybody want to be the first on tonight's call? Just simply *6 your phone and unmute. And we'll go for some animal stories tonight. You want to just *6 your phone and announce who you are and where you're from.
Hello?
Yes, who is this?
Ask another question?
You certainly can. Who is this?
Okay, this is Tim from Alberta.
Tim, good to have one of the Canadians checking in.
And what would you recommend for cholesterol? Correct yeast, rice, or hip sore?
Well, I'm not a doctor on that, Tim, but I've heard Dr. Marvin say many times that his recommendation is red yeast rice. Now, if your physician is prescribing, a statin drug to reduce your cholesterol, certainly you have the choice in your own medical care. An alternative that Dr. Marvin has suggested in the past is red rice. I know red yeast rice. Many people have had a lot of good experience with that.
Thank you.
Tim, one other thing that you may want to, just a moment, Tim, one other thing you may want to do is if there has been a prescription suggested to you by your physician, there is a website I think you'll find very valuable called drug.com. And that's a website that lists all of the different pharmaceutical products, and it will give you a listing of the kinds of side effects that may be associated with them. Many of you on the call might have heard Dr. Marvin in the past talk about the toxicity and the LD50 factor and things like that relate to how a drug is qualified. So you may want to put that into your own evaluation and look at the various side effects that are known to accompany that particular prescription.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I hope that's so helpful, Tim. There was a lady that had a question there.
Yeah, Joe from Connecticut. I have a fellow that has had serious insomnia, and he's been on 120 days. He's tried the Ambien before that didn't work. He's tried this, and I said maybe it's time. Giving time, and the thyroid working right. I don't know. Is there any other suggestions? Because he wants to go back to the doctor and get another a stronger drug, and I said no. Let's try to work it through. Here we can.
Yeah. Well, Joe, I am not a medical professional, so that's not something that I can really suggest. You may want to do a 3-way call with your preferred customer and Dr. Marvin,
Right.
He's available. If you go to the website, you'll find his cell phone number, and you can
I
certainly contact him. Now, I will say this, just as for everyone on the call, Dr. Marvin's going to be, he's out of state and probably will not be available tomorrow. But
Hello?
yes, go ahead.
Hi, this is Liz West. How are you?
Good, Liz.
Good. I have a dog story. Is that what we're talking about? Dogs? An animal story?
We're talking about animal stories.
Am I on the right call?
You're on the right place, Liz.
Well, anyway, I have a bull mastiff, and he's about 8 years old. And about, I don't know, I can't remember, 3 weeks ago, my husband and I decided to put him on protandim becoming a canine help, because we noticed that he was just getting a little slower. He wasn't like totally lethargic, but just getting up a little, and he wouldn't go up the stairs anymore. And so we made him a bed downstairs. Well, after about 5 days, I have to tell you guys, after 5 days, he was up the stairs. I don't know if you ever see that movie, Mr. Deeds. Everywhere I was, he was. And I can't believe it. I mean, this dog, he's not like a puppy by all means, but he has energy. He's going up, he's going down. And what I was doing is I was giving it to him in the evening when I fed him. So he would have so much energy at night. He wouldn't lay down. He wouldn't mind. So my husband and I said, oh, no, we have to do it during the day. So he can unwind at night. But I have to tell you, it really works. And he is not like a puppy, but he just has a lot more energy. And I have a little puppy that he plays with now. So it's almost like that Cassie and protandim when you watch that video on YouTube. So my bull mastiff really, really found the effects from canine.
Hey, Liz, did you have any trouble getting him to take the pill?
Let me tell you guys, he's a bull mastiff. He eats even rocks. He eats everything. So at first, he just ate him and stuff. And that's funny that you say that, because see, in the morning he doesn't eat him as good as he does at night, because at night I think he's hungry, because we only feed him, once a day really. So in the beginning, he didn't, and then so what we did was, he did, I'm sorry, because it was at night. So what we did was we wrapped him a little bit in bologna, but now he eats them without it now. So it just took a little while. And then my girlfriend said if you break it in half, I guess the smell is stronger, then they'll eat it. So.
That's a good tip, Liz. Now, he's a pretty good sized dog, I'm guessing. How many of the canine help are you giving him?
Well, I gotta tell you, he's supposed to be taking 4, but we only give him 2. And I'm not saying like I can't afford it not to give him more. It's just that I just thought that thank God I would give him 2, because I remember I gave him 2 in the morning, and then my husband came home and we didn't talk, and he gave him 2 more. So he was a little bit hyper than usual. So we decided that 2 was pretty good for her. So I would play around with it, y'all, to see, what your dog, I know the recommended dose, but sometimes it works with, I just don't like to maybe overdo it for him.
Well, that's really good. Have you noticed anything else other than the fact that he's no longer, his head's not going up the stairs? How's his disposition?
Oh, he's just, I'm telling you, he's almost like a puppy. Like, I know that he's like he really doesn't listen, but he always did, because now it's kind of like, he's so happy, I think, that maybe he's not out of pain, but he can move around. He just wants to always move around. But you're a big guy. You can't, he's like 150 pounds. I don't know how much he weighs, but he can't. And he's a bull mastiff, so he's the little stocky one. So he is 8. But I feel like big dogs have a little bit, they get a little older quicker. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm sure, I was really surprised, y'all, that it worked so wonderful for him. So I'm a true believer in that.
Well, that's awesome, Liz. I will say that I wish that you had taken a video before.
Please, I thought the same thing. I told my husband we should take him off and then give him, when he's lethargic, do a video and then do it.
You're not the only one that said that, Liz, but you know what? I don't think you're going to take him off it.
No, and I know there's many more people on the line that have dog stories or some kind of animal story.
Well, we're gonna open up the lines here and see what comes out of tonight's call. Thank you, Liz. I sure appreciate your input.
Thank you for coming in.
Somebody else got one they want. Just start at your phone, please.
Steve, this is Brad from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Brad, go ahead.
Has there been any instances or talk about detoxing dogs or animals? We had one customer that gave some to his dog, and it wasn't more than about 2 weeks. And he said he's got a little rash on his nose, and that was the only thing he mentioned of any kind of. And I said that's probably just coincidence. But then I thought later, well, rash is kind of a detox problem. Just wondered if there was anything like that. Anybody else ever had any issues with that kind of a thing? Thanks.
Well, it's interesting to bring that up, Brad. You know, if I recall, in that one of the places that, you know, the tongue and the nose are one area where an animal will, a dog especially, will sweat, and they don't normally during, you know, in other parts of their body. So I think that could be a good point. I haven't heard it mentioned. We may have someone online that does that, and of course, obviously, my fallback on that would make sure that the animals get plenty of fresh water.
Right, that's one thing I mentioned, but he said, well, I got down there for them to drink. I can't make them drink it.
No. Brad, did they make any mention of any change in their pet?
It was a young dog. He's a dog groomer, and he's also does agility training and stuff, and he was getting started on this training, and I said, well, if it's a young dog and it's a healthy dog, you may not see much difference. And he said after about 3 weeks, he said he really didn't see a lot. So yeah, no fantastic stories from here.
Okay, well that's good to know. And you know, a lot of times what we're really looking at also in a younger dog is the chemo prevention aspect of what protandim will do.
Right.
Because you know, it's like the Louisiana State study made the statement that protandim is a chemo preventive. You know, many times people are familiar with chemotherapy, which is using a drug or a substance to treat a disease, but yet we're using this supplement to prevent diseases. And even though that isn't what it's designed or the FDA says it will do, that's what Louisiana State in their published study made the statement that it is a chemo preventive. And that's what I'm referring to. So thank you, Brad. Thanks for the input.
Yep.
Hi, Steve. This is Marty in Sarasota, Florida.
Hi, Marty.
Hi, I do have a little dog story, actually. Before the canine product came out, I tried it on my elderly dog of 12 years old, and I also have a puppy. And I actually was experimenting on her before I was convinced for myself. So she was my test run. And she was arthritic, slow to move, not a lot of energy. So I gave it to her, a half tablet, for 2 weeks, and I was just observing. And one day, I'm looking out to my living room, and I hear the scuffling of feet on a wooden floor. And I, to my surprise, see my older dog chasing the puppy, doing laps around my living room, and then tackling her, and just, you know, thinking she's packed up. So I realized that this truly wasn't a placebo effect, and she definitely had changes, and it was just amazing, and I was really excited. So then when the canine product came out, of course, I put them both on it, and you know, her energy keeps on increasing, and her puppy attitude is coming back again. So it's been great, and I wish I had a video, because it was truly a change. That was really exciting. And one other thing I've done is that she's got this a lip glioma. It's like a hot spot on her foot. Took her to the vet, and he said, well, you can put some steroid cream on it and wrap it. I said, well, you know, I've got this really neat cream I want to try called Protandim, and I'd like to put that on there and see what happens. So I'm in the process of keeping it wrapped for a few days. So by next week, hopefully, we'll see some results on that clearing up or improving.
Well, very good.
Forward to that, yeah.
So, Marty, that's a question.
Yes. that I don't look best. Yeah, and I'm a nurse, so I'm kind of skeptical at heart, and I just needed to see that, and that's all I needed. So.
Well, that's a pretty good laboratory result, I think you got, Marty.
Yes, it was.
And I'm guessing you probably didn't take a video.
You're right, and I'm so sad I didn't. But
Okay.
the other opportunities, I'm sure, along the way.
Well, if you have a new client that you are bringing into and introducing the products to, and they're considering giving it to their pets, please ask them to take it before, because it's something that, most everybody always says, gee, I wish I'd taken a video.
Right, you're absolutely right. One place I've noticed that is kind of a cool place to hang out in, that is at we call Paul Pet places, where you can go to parks with your dog. And it's a kind of social place to hang out with your dog. And it's a great opportunity to really network with people who have pets. And if people have them in the communities, it's an awesome place to introduce the product.
Very good tip. Very good. That's a good idea. What Marty was telling us there is that these dog parks, where people can come and exercise their dogs and all, well, it draws a lot of people from the pet world, and it's also kind of a socializing thing while the dogs are exercising out there, and a great place to look and be able to share and talk and build some relationships with people. So, Marty, I want to really thank you. We had some echo picking up there, so I've got everyone muted here at just a moment, but let me unmute.
Unmuted. Muted.
Okay, Marty, if you have some closing remarks, just go ahead and unmute yourself again, *6.
Hey, Steve?
Yes.
This is Matt, South Carolina.
No, I'm excited about.
Have we heard anything more on opening business in Canada?
Just a second, Matt. Marty's going to drop in just one quick comment here. Hold on for me for just a second. Marty, anything else?
Just one other tip is that when you take your dog to the vet, talk to people. People are very excited about hearing what they can do to prevent having to go to the vet. So that's also another place to exchange phone numbers and get business cards off the bulletin boards that often are there as well.
Very good tip again, Marty. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And we'll look forward to your update on your topical true science application there on the hotspots. That's a great idea.
You bet.
Okay, Matt from South Carolina, are you still with me?
Yeah. Steve, have we heard any more on opening business in Canada?
Matt, that's a great question. I've not heard anything mentioned of late on the leadership calls that occur on Monday. And I know that we've all been kind of anxiously waiting and for an extended period of time. It seems as though what I've heard from various different leaders has been the fact that there has to be approvals by, I guess, all of the different provinces within Canada of the distributorship agreement and all, and that is still in process. Perhaps, as we get to the annual convention coming up in Salt Lake on the 11th through the 14th of April, hopefully maybe we're going to get some good news. It's like Tim from Alberta was on earlier in tonight's show, and I'd sure like to be able to say to all of our Canadian friends, hey, the floodgates have been open. Come on, Canada. We got a lot of good customers that are up there taking the product, but the business opportunity hasn't opened up. So, Matt, that's about all I can report until after convention, and we'll see what comes out, because I think nobody on the corporate side is leaking anything at this point, from what I'm hearing.
All right, great, thanks.
Okay, who else has an animal story for us tonight?
Again from Connecticut. I'm just asking a question about humans and animals. I had an incident last night. I was talking to someone. I thought they were going to sign up. What if ship 260 I would like to just try the product. Saw the video for Zamora and Cat, and she expected to jump around like them. And I said to her, what would you say to her? I said it takes really 120 days, and there's an extra thing that comes with that. Most people will get is I can't make claims, but I know I feel that way, and it gives you a sense of well-being. And she said, well, I don't want to, I may have a reaction. And I said, well, she said she was leaning on that video, like she has arthritis, and she wanted to know, she thought that she would have that response right away, And I said, well, humans are different than animals. But, everybody's different, you know what I mean? It may take a little longer.
That's true. And Jill, I think you've given your prospects some very good advice, because what we do see is that every person is unique, and the main thing is that they didn't get there overnight. For the most part, all of their symptoms and all came on slowly, and expectations of a silver bullet, are oftentimes going to end up only in disappointment. So if a person is open to change, because if they look back, if you probably ask that customer, if they look back over the last 2 to 5 years of their life and look at how fast the progression of their current complaint has manifest, it might be indicative of the fact that nothing is going to change unless they change. Right. So this is probably the thing that, for the most part, that they could interject into their diet and into their daily regimen that would turn that around and make the changes. We've oftentimes on this call heard many people tell stories in the past of how under X amount of time they saw some specific relief and some changes in things, and that has been the common thread that we hear in so many different people's anecdotal stories. And of course, we don't make those claims, but we do know that joint pain and inflammation and things like that are influenced because we're turning on those enzymes and we're using NERV2 activation to those areas of the genetics that control those responses in our body.
She has more than one response. She has, inflammatory signs and symptoms. So that's very good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and Jill, be sure and remind her that when she does start on the product, of course, the amount of water that she consumes, 18 ounce glasses, is so important. Yeah. And you bring up a good point also. You can find everybody on the call. If you go to Doc Marvin's website, docmarvin.com, you'll find up there a very good one-page white paper that Dr. Marvin wrote on the cleansing response that people sometimes experience. Not everyone, but sometimes some people do experience. So I really strongly recommend that anyone who is helping people by getting them to start taking protandim also make that available to them. It's a downloadable form. You can pull it off and email it to somebody, print it, hand it to them, but give them an understanding of some things that may occur. It's also going to help them realize that things are happening, and that's just as important. So, Jill, thanks for that heads up.
Thank you.
Somebody else have maybe another animal story they want to share tonight?
I have an animal story.
Yes, who's this?
This is Kelly Locatelli in California.
Where are you in California, Kelly?
I'm in the Valley, in Tracy.
In Tracy, okay.
I think some people have probably seen, I did take a video. I had a cat that was paralyzed, and we started getting her protandim, and the first week she was up on all fours.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I can't say why she was paralyzed. We don't really know why she couldn't walk, but she would drag the back, her spine from mid-back and her legs, her back legs, she was dragging them. She's a year old and she's been dragging them around for a year. And she just turned one, literally just turned one. Pretty much the first week that I gave her the protandim. And she at first took it really well, and then the better she got, the more snitty she got with it. Kind of, cats are skittish anyway. So now we're on week 3, and she's literally, I just put up the video today, and she literally is up pouncing, like using her back legs to push her. So again, we don't know why she was paralyzed when she was born. We think that she got kicked and hit the wall of the box because the cat had a really big litter. And for some reason it knocked her where she couldn't move her back legs. And now she's up on all fours, and you can see the video as it progresses. You can hear the horse in the background too. That's not me breathing, by the way.
So Kelly, tell me, how can people find this video up on the internet?
It's on the official distribution Lifevantage Facebook page, and it's on YouTube, and it says Protandim helps paralyzed kitty, and there's week 1, 2, and 3. Wow. So it shows all 3 weeks, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. Like the one that I posted today, habitually she starts to drag her legs as she's kind of trying to get away from me. And because I'm taping her, and for everyone who didn't do a video, it's not as easy as you think, because they get a little weird when they think you've got like an instrument on them or something. At least the cats do, because again, are weird anyways. But she wanted to just kind of sit there when I had my phone out to videotape her. She starts to drag her legs anyways today on today's video, and then she remembers that she can use them. And you see her kind of jump up on both feet, and then she just sort of scats out of the video. It's pretty incredible.
That's great. And Kelly, thank you for taking the pictures and taking the time to get them up there. I hope everyone learned that look on YouTube, and you can search Protandim helps paralyzed kitty, weeks 1, 2, and 3.
Wow. Right.
And
Yeah.
you'll see a progression of Kelly's cat. That it's 4 days later had a significant change.
A significant change. It was truly remarkable. I called everybody on my upline. I emailed everybody. I'm like, oh my God, that's working. So it's incredible. We give it to our horse. We give it to our dogs. We have another dog. Another just quick story for you. I have a dog that's he's a Chihuahua mix, and he's blind in one eye, and it's glossy and kind of glazed over. And we've been giving him Protandim too, and it's not glossy and glazed over anymore. Whether or not he can see, I have no clue. But it's not glossy or glazed, and he's been on it for 3 weeks too. So
that's and remember that in the canine health product, Kelly, one of the things that they say is that promotes eye health.
exactly, yes.
Now, you mentioned you're giving it to to the Chihuahua. Are you giving a tablet, a partial tablet? How much?
I'm giving him a quarter of a tablet, and now I'm giving him a half of a wafer. And all the animals smell it, so they're getting the canine product now, and they smell it. And the horse still wants the pill, the Protandim pill. I'm giving him a whole pill, and he plays around with it for a little while before he takes it. But the rest of them can smell that I have it in my hand, and the dogs that attack me, they want their wafer. So I've got 3 dogs I'm giving it to. One is blind, or the one with the blind eye, and the other 2 are puppies. And then there's 4 or 5 cats that I give it to as well.
Now, Kelly, have you noticed anything particular in the horse that you've been giving the Protandim?
Yeah, the horse is doing really well. The horse is, he's moving his tail a lot more. He's going outside of the corral more instead of just staying in the corral where just like his trough is and stuff. He's like actually going out where he can see the street and walking around and looking like he wants to be ridden. So he's 20 years old.
Okay. Now,
and yeah, I should be taking video of him too, and I haven't. And we've been riding him more lately as well. So.
And how long have you had the horse on the product?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. So you started a massive experiment over the last 3 weeks.
I started a Dr. Dolittle experiment. I did, and we've taken him out twice, the horse, and he's a cow horse, so. To move our cows from field to field, he's actually moving a lot quicker, and his responses are a lot faster than they used to be. We almost didn't use them. this last time with this cow. We looked at using because he was real slow last time. But this time he was really quick on his feet and chasing those cows out.
So that he's more like a rain cow horse instead of a riding.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, we ride him around the property and stuff, and in the large corral, just trot him around and keep him active. But he's really a cow horse. Yeah, he's a cow chaser.
Well, very good.
Any
more animals that you're going to put onto the product?
And not unless we get any more. I don't know. We had a calf that could have used it a while ago, but unfortunately he's gone. But I'm not opposed to giving it to the bull or the calves or anything that we use ourselves, and just to see how they do if something were to come up where they look like they're not healthy or they're not eating properly or they're just alfalfa fed cows, Angus cattle. So I'm not opposed to giving it to them if they need it, but so far everybody else is doing really, really good.
And now I assume that you're taking protandim yourself.
Yes, I am.
Well, you got some great stories. I sure appreciate that, Kelly. That is some awful mix, a tremendous mix when you consider your cat, your dog, your horse. You're revolutionizing the farm.
We are. It's no longer old McDonald's. It's new McDonald's here. And they all look fresh and new. And they do. They really do. Their coats look good. And I'm taking it, and I have low thyroid disorder, and my hair is growing back, and it's been great for me too.
That's
I have a shiny coat as well. Yeah, me and my shiny coat, right?
That's great. Well, thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Okay, does somebody else have a new story they want to share with us tonight? Just star 6 your phone and unmute if you would.
This is in Boulder, Colorado.
I'm sorry, your first name again?
Ryan.
Ryan. Go ahead, Ryan. What's happening in Boulder, Colorado?
Well, thanks for the call. I really appreciate it. And I just watched those videos, and that's amazing. So congratulations on your cat. I did have a question to go off of the last person that was just talking about her cat. Does she give her horses protandim or canine health?
We'll have Kelly unmute, but go ahead, Kelly.
I give the horse the actual protandim pill. The dog will take the protandim too, but they prefer the wafer.
Yeah. So based on the size of the dog, do you still recommend the protandim, or would you go up? Or I'm sorry, the canine health, or would you up it to protandim just because of how big they are and how many canine health they'd require?
That's a difficult question to answer. As for me, it's just a matter of what they're going to take. If what's easier to feed them. I would give them the canine health because it has the omega-3s in it and the collagen 2 product in there. So I would give them the canine if you could. It's just a lot of canine for the horse.
Right.
And he likes the green tea, so it seems to make him kind of hesitant.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, Ryan, I would say, remember that on the bottle there is a chart according to weight. And that's going to vary. It's just like when Marty said from Sarasota, she gives, I think it was Marty, it was Liz West, said she'd have to back it off, and giving less of the wafers because her bull mastiff was getting, too frisky and wouldn't settle down at night. So you kind of have to, this seems to be an ongoing science experiment, but the beauty of the canine health product, of course, is the fact that the veterinarians and the testing and the rest of that's been done, have put together a great mix of protandim plus the other additives that really bring a full spectrum of canine health to the table.
Great, thanks.
I had a question. Did you give protandim to your cat or the canine health?
We started the cat on protandim, a quarter of protandim, because that's all that I had at the time, and then switched her to the canine.
Okay.
Which just takes a lot easier.
Yeah, That does make sense, Kelly, that the canine health product is probably a lot easier to give to a cat than the regular protandim pill. I know we have there's one of our local group here in Virginia has had a 20-year-old cat that was dragged, would just, you kind of have to mark the spot on the floor where it was sleeping to make sure that it was still moving. And the husband was kind of harassing the distributor with, tick, tock, it's not long before this cat's gone. And she started that cat on the wafer, and that cat is running all over the 20-year-old cat.
It's crazy, right?
Is running up and down the stairs, full of new energy, and there's no more tick-tocking going on at all.
It's crazy. It's true. That's how our cat is. It's running up and down the hay bales, and where it was just laying there. It didn't really have a life, and we debated what to do with it, and I said, let's just give this a shot. And now the whole farm's on it, so, yeah, I agree.
No,
if it just had a tuna taste instead of bacon, that'd be even better.
Well, maybe they'll, I don't know if we'll see a feline health product. Maybe R&D is going to work on that one for us, who knows?
That'd be great.
I'm from Atlanta, Kelly. I think you have a mission to go to all the zoos and get these animals straightened out, too.
I'll do my best.
Pretty good suggestion there, and I guess probably the closest one's up Sacramento, Kelly. We have to go up and at least find a trainer up there.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, making a distributor out of them, huh?
Well, a lot of them are mouth and nutrition. We had a tiger in Atlanta that they actually starved to death, and of course she was beautiful. She was her name was Saudia. I'm highly concerned about what are they really doing in zoos, because a lot of zoos don't have the budget to feed. So if you've got just as far as I'm concerned, protandim is the way for animals, and especially the transmitters and stuff that have a hard time having longer life. So I challenge you to go get one zoo, and then you make you some money and go to all the zoos, and I guarantee you that'll raise some ears on all animals.
Well, that's a good challenge. Yeah, that's a good challenge. Has somebody else got a question?
I have a question. I'm calling from Illinois, and I'm in the distributor. My name is Carol, and I don't have a pet. And my neighbor has a yellow lab that was hit by a car, and they had to remove her leg. And it's removed all the way up to the hip. And I wanted to give her a bottle. I know she's on a lot of meds because of her arthritis, because of this and everything. At what point should she give her this if she's giving other meds to her?
Well, I don't believe that there's going to be any, just like, and I'm not speaking as a vet, but for contraindication with protandim, because the dog is a mammal, we're a mammal. So you're not going to have any conflict between protandim and the medication. But especially with an animal that's been in an accident like that, it would certainly seem that inflammation and things like that are a part of the process that's going on. So since this is also an anti-inflammatory, it would certainly seem like it's going to be helpful to that pet.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect a fourth leg. I wouldn't expect a fourth leg, Carol, but I would certainly expect improvement.
Good. Thank you very much.
I have a question here. This is Madhupuri from Virginia.
Yes?
How much time does it take for a person with diabetes to start this protandim, start making a difference? You start seeing the change.
Okay, now...
And also with arthritis.
Well, Madhupuri, I don't know that you can actually define for anyone what the timing might be. Sometimes what I've often found is that, as complex as the human body is, there are things that are going on inside that have no knowledge of. And oftentimes before things get to the point of manifesting a symptom or some kind of an issue like that, something may have been happening for weeks, months, or even years. I know that in certain medical conditions there are time lapses that can be up to 10 years of growing of some issue before it becomes manifest and diagnosed by the medical community. So by using that as my underlying point, one of the things that makes it very difficult to try to predict any kind of response time is going to be the issues that are going on in a person's own body and their own general health. Now, I think we can certainly help it by certain dietary things that we may do that put less stress on our body, managing stress better, managing sleep, managing water consumption, exercise, things like that. But with a person who's dealing with some medical issues, again, I think the best rule of thumb is, what's happened for the last 2 to 5 years in their life? Has it brought any change? If it hasn't brought change, perhaps suggesting to them that here's a dietary supplement that has proven itself to be effective in this area of reducing oxidative stress. And you can find a relationship between oxidative stress and whatever the medical issue is that they are experiencing by going on PubMed.gov and putting in the terms oxidative stress and then add the search term, whatever that malady is, arthritis, diverticulitis, I'm not sure exactly what you mentioned there. But you'll be able to find out if there is a correlation. Then one of the things, we know that protandim manages oxidative stress and reduces it an average of 40% 30 days. And the lab results and the studies show that over time that amount is even increased up to 70%. So I would make sure that you keep encouraging them to do the right health things that are going to bring about change. That's what's going to make the long-term difference. Promises, we just can't make them. There's just no way to know that. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you. I did discuss with one of my friends, and the question I'm asking on his behalf is wanted to know if any of these, the 5 ingredients that are there consist of SOD?
No. See, SOD is, I think you're referring to superoxide dismutase, and that is the enzyme that your cells produce. That and catalase and glutathione are the three super antioxidant enzymes that your body naturally makes as its own mechanism to fight oxidative stress and free radicals. Now, what happens with protandim, according to all the published research, is that protandim turns on those gene switches back to their original setting so that your cells are making each of those components at a full component, like when you were young, before aging set in. And so when that is in place, now your body has those natural defenses in each of your cells to deal with the free radical damage that is coming from all of the above. Digesting, burning fuel, food for fuel in the cells, oxygenation, pollution, all of that kind of free radical damage that comes. So none of the ingredients are 5 common herbs. You've got turmeric, green tea, ashwagandha, milk thistle, and bacopa in a very unique blending and ratio that creates this effect of the NRF2 activation within the cells that causes the genetic switches to be modulated. It's a wonderful thing that's happening. Anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, please.
Yes, who's this?
Is Denise from Massachusetts, California?
Denise? Yes, go ahead.
On the leadership call, that they indicated when the canine home is going to be shipped, that it's been out of stock.
All I've heard is back order. I didn't hear anything specifically on this week's leadership call. I'll make an inquiry tomorrow and have some updates for next week's call. I don't know. I just don't have any. I don't have any good information. I know we've been passing some around. I loaned some that I had to one of my distributors whose dog was a 14-year-old mutt that was barely moved around, and he started his pet on canine health, and now he's running in and out of the doggy door and trouncing around the backyard and absolutely doing wonderful, and doesn't act like a 14-year-old anymore. So I had to loan him some canine health, and I had samples here at the house, and hoping that would get him by until he got his auto ship order in place.
Okay, I have two of my sister's dogs here, and I'm afraid to keep giving now I have three, and if I keep giving them the ones for my dog, then I'll run out. But her dogs are much older, so I'll just, and they get it out quick.
Well, Denise, here's a little encouraging word. My backup here that's doing lookups for me and so forth, John, his canine health order, the first week after it was due to ship, was back ordered, and he said he received it now in the second week. So it's getting shipped out. There's just been a delay. But good news is, the cavalry is, the dust of the cavalry is on the horizon.
Great, thanks.
Okay. Tony, are you on the line from Reading? If you are, Tony, would you unmute yourself? Okay, I guess we don't have Tony on the line. We brought up earlier in tonight's call about Zamora the horse. That was a video that was up on YouTube, and it was a great story about it.
Steve, I'm here.
Okay, Tony, can you bring us up to date on Zamora? And
Actually, Dane's on here. Dane, can you bring us up to date? He just texted me. Dane is the person who put the video together.
okay, Dave, good to have you on the call. Are you from Reading or Palisade, Dave?
From Orland.
Orland.
And I think he's got a star 6 your phone, buddy. I was having a really hard time getting off the mute, too. I don't know what was going on. I think my phone was muted, and then I had to star 6 also to get off, so.
Okay, Dane from Orland. Can we get you on the phone with us?
Are you there, bud? I can text him again. Get back on the call. Yeah, he did text me and tell me that he had to pull it off today because of, I'll read you the text he actually wrote to me. He said, where's my call? Compliance had me take it down. I tried to re-edit with no mention of Life Manager, Life Manager's Protandim and Hannah. I think that his spell check was screwed up. But anyway, Protandim and Hannah available with some sort of suggested comment to what the product is without actually saying it. So something along the lines of they have to edit it, I guess. So, we have to protect the company.
Right, so we're going to do there's some editing in process, and we will get it back up there. So
I believe so.
That's what we have to do, because for everybody on the call, remember that one of the things that we do want to do is not jeopardize anything that would hurt the forward motion that we're experiencing with LifeVantage and with this wonderful product, and
Exactly.
the canine health side of things.
Right.
So,
Hey, Steve, you want me to tell my testimony on my dog?
Tony, I'm sitting here waiting.
Okay, some people probably have already heard it, but he's been breeding Rhodesia Ridgebacks for 20-something years, and we have a female that was our breeder, and she's about 11 years old, and she just was getting to the point where she's very inflamed, her joints were really swollen. She was walking like her uncle used to kind of have this big swollen shoulder. He would walk with his shoulder kind of tilted funky, his right shoulder, front shoulder, and then she started doing that, and she just was to the point where she didn't want to walk up the stairs anymore because it hurt. And the only time I could get her to come upstairs is when we went to bed at night. So, it was one stair at a time, just one step at a time, slowly. And she'd look at me like going, oh my gosh, Mom, do I have to go all the way up there? And then we decided to start getting him Protandim. This was before the canine health came out. And so we started sticking it down their throat, and if you put it in anything like a hot dog or wrap it in anything, they
find it and spit it out. They didn't like the taste of the probably turmeric is so strong, but anyway, so I had to stick it down their throat, and she was probably the worst one to have to do that to because she was gagged. But I did it anyway because I was really didn't want her to hurt anymore, and I was pretty, I had heard so many things, so I thought this got nothing to lose. So in about 2 weeks, I was in our home. We have an open area. It's the kitchen and the living room, or excuse me, the kitchen is on your one level, and it's open to this living room that goes down, and then across the living room is a staircase that goes up. And I was standing there doing dishes one day, and one of the dogs was on the bed in the dining room, and the other one, I heard this little rattle of her collar going up the stairs. And I looked over, and our stud, who was laying in the kitchen, or in the dining room on the rug, I looked over and went, what tiger is still laying on the bed? That must have been Kiara. And I looked over and I went, Kiara, you ran up the stairs. And she did. She ran up the stairs. I mean, I heard the little collar go, rah, 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 and it shocked me because like I said, she hadn't been able to walk up those stairs in ages. She's been in so much pain. And for those of you who don't want to take your dogs off the side after they do so well, I didn't want to lead it, but I did run low because we have 3 big dogs, so we're getting to our dogs, and we have 2 boys that were home at the time, and my husband and I, so we ran out. And I was kind of thinking, well, we'll get him on the canine help, but the canine help was taking a little while. Well, 2 weeks off protandim, she had such a huge swelling in her back left knee that she licked it so badly that she licked a hole. I don't know if she chewed it or licked it, but she had a hole in her leg, and it was awful. It was just disgusting. She was just totally raw meat. And she was back to walking really slow and in a lot of pain again. And so I started sticking the pills down her throat again because I wasn't going to wait for the canine health, and I just had to get her back on it. And in 2 weeks, same thing. We have a little puppy that's a year old, and Ridgebacks grow really fast. And so almost all of our puppies get it's almost like when teenagers get growing pains in their joints. That's what our puppies do. So at 1 year old, she was really struggling to walk, and limping and crying, and every night in bed she would cry. And I would hold her and just love her and just, I'm so sorry, Annie, and I got her on it, and then right around 2 weeks, she was running around like a little puppy again. But she also went off of it because we were getting low. She was on the same schedule her mama was. And anyway, 2 weeks back on it, and she was running around like a puppy again. And I actually have sent those videos over today, and I did take videos, and I sent them over today. And so I hope he's got something he can make something out of, because it's like you say, like Kelly says, Kelly, it's really hard to make a video, especially of a puppy that you're trying to make stay away from you. She wants to stand right next to you. So I've had a heck of a time getting any kind of video footage, but I got a little bit of something, and hopefully Dave can make something out of it. But and Kelly, I'm so proud of you for getting on here tonight. She was having a heck of a time getting unmuted also. So I texted her and said, get on the phone and talk about your kitty. But she has so many great testimonials, and I'm so grateful to be involved with this company. This product is phenomenal, and I share it with everybody I know and love. And Steve, we had your guy at our meeting here not too long ago. Your guy from Whitmore. Thanks for taking him over.
Sometimes you hear some skeptics who will make some statements, and I know that you're from maybe the family that owns some more of the horse. You want to take and validate that to some degree of this is really what happened for our listeners tonight.
Oh, sure, absolutely. When I first saw the Zamora the horse, I didn't know whose horse it was, and I was really impressed and surprised and excited about her. And then I saw a little, on this clip that said Susan Boatman, and I went, Sue Boatman, she fights in my Saturday trainings. I know her. So I tracked her down through Dane, I believe. I said, hey, who is Sue Boatman? I remember her. And he reminded me she was the little blonde lady that had come to our Saturday trainings. So at our Super Saturday training, we decided to use the Zamora as an opening, clip after we showed the ABC video, just to give a testimonial, because for us, we like to show the animal testimonials at our trainings and our meetings, because as everybody knows, with humans, you can have a placebo effect. As a human, you can say to them, take this pill, you're going to feel great, and they take it, and it can be a sugar pill, and they're going to feel great because it's the power of suggestion, because humans are like that. We want to believe what we hear. And although some people are the opposite, as I remember that. But anyway, so we'd love to show the animal testimonials, because you give a dog a pill, they don't know what the heck you're giving them. They aren't going to fake it, so there's no placebo effect. So it's just so much easier for us to get people to get this when we show the animal testimonials. So when Zamora first came out, I asked Susan, I said, Sue, would you like to introduce the video? Because we're going to show, your video, and it'd be wonderful. Would you like to introduce it? And she said, absolutely. So she's so sweet, and she's so cute. She's just this little tiny blonde, blue-eyed, wonderful little sweet lady. And she got up there, and she just said, basically, she said, we've been breeding our horses for 40 years,
and Zamora was my baby. Zamora was 23 years old, and she said we were told we were going to have to put her down because she could barely walk from her water to her barn, and she was just barely getting around, and she was, horses usually live, I guess, to be in their 30s, and she was just in a lot of pain. They just couldn't barely see her suffering anymore, and she said we gave her a half a pill a day, and of course the video shows, what happened in 3 days. And I asked her, I said, Susan, why would you only give a horse a half a pill? I mean, I know that Dr. Marvin or Dr. McCord says that it doesn't go by body weight, it goes by body surface. And if you think about it, a horse doesn't have a whole lot more surface than a human, so it's not like because it weighs a ton that it's going to be a lot more product for it. It goes by surface. So she said, I was just trying it out, just a half a pill, because she was like, well, I can always give her more, so what's what a half a pill does? So just by freak accident, on the third day, it just really took effect, and she just got the lot of results of it. So it really is a real video. I know Susan Boatman. She's a super sweet, honest lady, and she's so grateful. She just was up there. She was in tears when she introduced that video because she's so much for babies and they've been breeding these horses for, like I said, 40 years, and they did not want to have to put her down. And you can see how sweet she is. You can tell how tender they are with their horses. And so it's a real video. It's really, she's a real person, and I know her personally. She's a very good friend of ours. And like I said, she was in tears, and she's very sensitive, and it really happened. So, I mean, I have her number if you want it.
No, it's good. Oftentimes for our callers, and people will, question what's on the internet, whether or not it's listed or not, and so it's always nice to be able to validate stories. Many of us all may have seen, the dog video that's up there called Cassie. Cassie.
That's Marissa's. Marissa is a friend of mine also.
Right.
In fact, Terry gets to Marissa.
Yeah. She probably lives about a mile from where Dr. Martin lives in Kansas City.
Yeah, she's in Kansas City, and she's a sweetheart. She's the sweet lady whose wonderful fiance, Charlie Whittaker, Whittaker, he proposed to her on stage at one of the conventions. And he was the one that took the video of that Kathy. So they're real people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was introduced to her by
It's good for people to be able to hear from someone who has some insight and can do some validating. That's really great, Tony. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Steve. Thanks for working so hard on this call. We'd love to have it.
Yeah, it's really a privilege. I tell you, it's wonderful to be able to have videos that we can share stories, within certain constraints, but also be able to this wonderful opportunity that's out there for people that not only can make a difference, but make a difference in health and in wealth.
Absolutely, and you did such a great job, and we're so blessed to have you. So thank you for all the effort you put out.
Well, thanks, Tony. Well, I have an affinity for Reading, as you well know.
Yes, you do, and we love you, and we can't wait to see you over here. And anybody you need help with over here, just send them to us. We'll take care of them for you.
You know where French Gulch is, Tony?
I do.
Most people won't. Okay. Thanks.
Beautiful up there by Whiskey County.
Yeah, that's...
Don't Steve. I was kind of still people having trouble getting a dog that like takes it. Use a 000 capsule by Swenson Vitamin Company. You put a whole protandim or half one in the capsule and wrap it with cheese or chicken or something, and it goes right down the dog.
Okay, so Al, what you're saying is crush the pill.
No. The whole capsule or half capsule fit inside a 000 size clear capsule. Full parts put the pill inside.
Okay. So then, let me explain to the folks. A capsule is, you can get I think a 0, a 1, a 2, a double 0, a 2, and a 3. So that's a fairly large capsule, but yet the dog won't taste it. Wrap it up, slip it inside the two halves of the capsule, put it together, wrap it with the camouflage, and bingo, it's gone down.
I got my dogs to take the protandim pill. I cut it in half because he's real little, and I would put peanut butter around the protandim, and then I'd put peanut butter on another finger, give him the protandim with the peanut butter, then just quickly let him lick the other finger off, and he'd just swallow the first one. So, I just kind of fooled him. He didn't have time to spit it out.
Very good. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. Okay, anybody else with some other, as we're kind of wrapping up tonight, anybody else with any other?
It's Joe up in Connecticut again about diabetes.
Yes,
just
Joe.
wanted to interject something here.
I have a fellow down on the border of Mexico, and he's 68 years old, and he started on the product within a month. He had his. We're not supposed to make claims, but I know that this is what he had happened. He had marked, depletion of his neuropathy. His counts went down for sugar, and his libido changed.
Well, those are good positive results. So that's good positive results, Joe. Before we close up tonight, let's see if we can squeeze in one more. Would you have another pet story that someone wants to share with us tonight?
Hey, Steve. Hi, Steve. This is Dr. Julie in Indiana. And I just had a couple of quick comments about a couple of calls this evening, if you can hear me okay.
Okay, you're good, Julie.
Okay, and I wanted to thank you for doing these calls. They're absolutely wonderful. And I learn something new each time also. So, teaching an old dog new tricks. I want to mention that I'm a veterinarian here, and I've been using Protandim and, of course, then Canine Health for over a year and a half. And I've seen absolutely, amazing things with this. And I would encourage people that have animals on NSAIDs, your anti-inflammatories like Rimadyl and that type of thing. This, I think I've used Protandim with all the NSAIDs. There may be one out there that I haven't, but I think I've used it concurrently with everything, and I have people start their animals on Protandim while they're on their medication, so they're not changing anything, and then go at least 2 weeks, and then see if they can slowly wean them off of those medications. And it's great if they can talk to their, veterinarian and, work with them with that and say, if we're not seeing the symptoms anymore, can I lower the dosage? And that's the very best way to do that. But I've had most all animals be able to reduce their dosage of the more toxic and expensive medications that they're on for arthritis in particular. So I wanted to let you know that. And the other was about true science on the hot spots or liquid granulomas. Anything that looks moist and red, I usually try to keep open to the air. And True Science is great. It's wonderful on that. And if you're seeing things get worse, then stop. And that's simply what I tell clients. But by covering those many times, you can make those worse because it holds the heat and the moisture in. And it's actually just a moist dermatitis a lot of times. But the point is to have the pet not lick that area. So you can use cones and, different e-collars and things like that to accomplish that. Sometimes it's pretty tricky. But I wanted to let people know that other dressings like petroleum-based products will make those worse, like Neosporin, tend to make those worse. But True Science, I've had a lot of success in using it that way. So anyhow, I just thought I'd let you guys know that. So.
Well, that's awesome, Dr. Julie. Will you do me a favor, please? Would you email me your contact info, and maybe we can connect? I'd like you to take and prepare and get a little lead in for folks and some instruction on one of our upcoming calls. Would you be willing to do that?
Sure, that'd be fine. I think Dr. Marvin probably has it, but I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, shoot, I'm usually the one that kind of arranges all that in his busy
Yep, I understand.
So shoot me an email at steve@kelsay.us, KELSAY.
Okay.
Will you be having in Salt Lake?
I will be. Yep.
Okay, then be sure and see if we can connect. I'd love to be able to meet you.
Okay.
And we'll be out there.
That sounds Steve?
Yes.
This is Joni from Louisiana. I bet you I sound a little better, huh?
You sound better, Joni.
When you do that with the doctor, the nice doctor, how about if I chime in on that one? Is that okay?
Sure, Joni. We'll save your horse story for a little later, okay?
Yeah, horse and doggy.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Appreciate all your support.
Dr. Jillian, you want to hang on for just a minute? We may have a couple of folks with some questions here as a follow-up, if you don't mind.
Sure, no problem.
Does anybody have my phone?
Yeah.
Okay, this is?
I'd like to get in contact with Dr. Jillian. I have a couple of veterinarians I'm talking with here, and I would wonder if she'd be open to a three-way call or anything like that. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I guess.
Yeah. I try to do those as much as I possibly can, and I'll give Steve my contact information, or you can, look me up in what do I want to say? Where are we going? Salt Lake. So
I'll be there. That would be great.
Yeah, Rick. So if you want to shoot me an email, I'll make some connections. I want to make sure that everyone knows that, and of course, Dr. Gillian has a full practice and is a distributor, so we want to be very respectful of her time and use it very sparingly. But we appreciate the openness, Dr. Gillian. Any other questions before we wrap up tonight?
I got a question.
Okay, with this?
Steve from Michigan.
Yes, Steve.
Dr. Julian, how were you approached about LifeVantage? And do you sign up your clients as customers to buy it online, or do you sell it in your store?
I do both. I was actually approached by a stranger, but I'm a Chinese herbalist, certified by trade, plus I do acupuncture and chiropractic. So he had no idea who he was talking to. We just were both in Panera, where my daughter had worked, and it was just one of those freak things that was meant to come to me, I think. And I looked at it and did, a lot of my own research and said, I have to try this. I absolutely have to try this, because I felt like it was a moral obligation to my patients to try this, because this could be so revolutionary, and it has been. It's changed the way I do medicine. So I will dispense it from my clinic just for my animal patients, and I also let people know that there is a human product, but I don't take their time getting into that in our appointments. And I would be happy to talk to them about that if they call me, or there's any meetings around that they can get that information. So, and I let them know that there is an auto ship that's available that is the cheapest way to get that, and also ensures that they will get that regularly if they're interested. And then I let them do whatever they want with that information.
Okay, thank you.
Very good response. Very good, Dr. Gillian. I would imagine you have some pretty good stories that you can share. So we'll have to we'll probably have to save some of those for another night.
Yep, not tonight.
It's getting a little late. We've kind of run out the clock for tonight's opportunity. I want to thank everyone that's been with us tonight, and we've got some great comments, great questions, a good venue of stories tonight. I want to again remind everyone, of course, that protandim is not a drug. It is a supplement, and it is not intended to heal, cure, mitigate, prevent, or diagnose any disease. Only a drug can do that in the United States of America. But of course, it does reduce oxidative stress an average of 40% in 30 days in all the people. So, and Tony Goddard, I got your text. I will get that information to you also as a sidebar. But I want to thank everyone. Dr. Marvin will be back with us. He's actually traveling in Colorado tonight and unable to join us, but he'll be back on regular time, same place. Again, anyone if you're checking into the archive call, this call will be up as soon as we've finished tonight as this week's recorded call. Later on, it will be identified as call number 59. So, so I would thank everyone again, and thank you for joining us, and for everyone, good night, and God bless.